One point, I always feel that the government of India is not our marketing director and should not be so. So I think we have to get successful on our own if we believe we're delivering value to the consumer. The Indian, all consumers, and I'm going to talk about consumer India because that is what we're discussing now. I think consumer India has no religion about I want to buy this or I want to buy that. Like consumers everywhere, they want to buy that which gives them the maximum value. Value is benefit minus cost. They have an algorithm in their heads. They will process your benefit and your cost and as compared to the benefit and the cost of the alternative and say paisa vasool ki nahi vasool, right? So a very poor person will say I have two pay channels in my house because I have, let me give you a more complex example. I have a mother-in-law who has to stay at home and cook dinner while I come and do beautician work late at night for you women who will pay me a price premium. So, they are pretty sophisticated in terms of how they process value. Similarly, as far as energy efficient is concerned, if you're telling consumers that this will get the job done and your electricity bills will be lower, and that's fine. I don't think anybody will say no. If you say that this is going to get the job done and your bills will be lower, and I'm not responsible if your bills are not lower, I don't know where the rating system came out of, and I am not, and by the way, you're going to have to pay double for the joy of, or 1.5 times for the joy of an energy efficient system. I think what you're doing, even in business, if you made that offer to the supply side as a bank, I think there are too many unknowns. And by the time you arrive at a risk weighted number, and consumers are extremely good at risk weighted algorithms, they will say, well, maybe, maybe not. If you give them, there's no frills is another story forever, which is that if you decide that tumhare aukat ke liye yahi theek hai, and sometimes it doesn't even fulfill what they actually use it for, then you haven't understood their value right. So let me give you the example of telecom. I think the entire country is now obsessed, will not live without a mobile phone. I might sort of skip a little bit on the vegetables, but I need to do my recharge because there is real value being delivered. I think the point, I think a lot of points have been covered so far, all of which are extremely valid. And I think we must never forget that we're a poor country. At the end of the day, we put out, my colleague Dr. Shukla, who runs our ICE 360 surveys. By the way, we do 60,000 consumers and get income data because it's shocking this country runs without income data. So there's no income data in the public domain of any serious kind. There's claimed income data, but there's no real income data. So if you actually look at income data, it is true that for still a large section of India, in spite of us being the fifth largest economy, we are a large economy of lots and lots of very modest income people. Consumers will tell you, मेरे को चौरास्ता पे नीलाम करने से भी पैसे नहीं है इसके ऊपर जाने के लिए. In good times of the economy, we will stretch for more and take a punt that our incomes will increase. In bad times, we will settle for less. We see it with two-wheelers. Two-wheeler penetration is phenomenal because it's a productivity tool. So similarly, I think we just have to find where is the value as far as consumers are concerned and benefit minus cost. The two-wheeler industry created value through what is called 65 kilometers per liter. Uske niche chalta nahi hai. You can raise your power, you can do what you want, but you have a very small sort of amount of play in terms of how low you can go. Right. So if you do deliver value to consumers, consumers are extremely happy buying and paying for it to the extent that they can pay for it. It's a classic question, is there fortune at the bottom of the pyramid? There is, because 30% of our consumption comes from our lower income. Do we know how to get our hands on it? That's where you need innovation and you need the supply side to really kick in. And the last point I want to make is there's no instant karma. It's not, oh, I launched this low cost thing and by the way, I have made enough money on it. Your net margins will take time to come. I think we discovered it on the FMCG side as well. We were in denial over the possibility of doing it, but it takes you about a good 8-10 years by the time you start to make money on it. I think the thing with the telcos is that the whole ecosystem came together. We hope it will come together for agriculture now. So you didn't, the reason e-commerce works is because if you walk on the pavement, you will break your foot because there are so many potholes. We have the lowest data rates in the world. Thank you, China, for giving us smartphones. We're not telling the consumer that, oh, you're poor, you can't get a camera, you can't get data, you can't get this, you can't get that. So when you get the stars aligned through a lot of hard work and serendipity, I think markets explode. And that should be the big vision we should be going after.